which is humanity versus the data scientists. Welcome to our 13th episode of the Premium Advantage.
13!
As we continue to explore the increasing intricacies that continuously surround us, and as we develop our platform, and as we enhance our experiences, what we ask from you is to subscribe.
Click the button. I think we're only like 5 away from the prize.
Oh, that's right. We have a prize for the 100.
Yes.
At the 100 subscriber, $100.
That's
$100.
When did that started? Like 4 months back. It's really going good.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. The initial episode started in November, I think, November or October. So we're now in the 13th episode. We got subscriptions, we got descriptions, we got clicks, we got things are moving, okay? So, co-hosting today, Mr. Jacinto.
How y'all doing?
And a special guest today, Mr. Sam Sumawa.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, today is a very interesting episode. It's very interesting because it's our first collaboration, co-branding episode. And it is meant to allow for us to aid in sharing the information as we create more connections. And Mr. Sam, if you wouldn't mind elaborating for us a little bit on your history and the nature of your appearance here today.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Roberto. First of all, thanks for inviting me today. So it's really an honor to be a part of Premium, as you guys are doing really great and sharing knowledge about various aspects to your audience. Okay, so I hope I would be able to share something today about data science. Okay, one of the very burning topics, right?
Dáta
People literally talking about data science every day. If you were talking about like what is data science and how we can get into data science field. So hopefully I would be able to give you some sort of like information that how the data science kind of evolving into this world, and how we can get into this data science world, which will take you to that AI transitioning in future.
You're speaking way too many words that
Lost me already.
You lost me. Hello, let me explain. Oh, he's gonna explain this?
I'm getting sweaty.
In that, we also have Mr. Jacinto, which, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of what you want to communicate.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk just quickly about the comedy events in Houston. Houston has an amazing comedy scene that not a lot of people know about. Not just the typical comedy clubs where they're bringing comedians from other cities. We actually have a home base of amazing comedians, some of which are my friends and I'm starting to get to know. So I wanted to give them a quick shout out. So every night of the week, you can see some amazing comedy in Houston. So on Mondays, there's El Pueblito, a friend of mine. His name's Sean Sorley. That's at 7 p.m. We're going to put all that information down at the bottom, so don't worry. That's on Mondays. On Tuesdays, Kenji Alonzo. That's called Comedy in the Garden. That's at 8 p.m. That's on McGowan Street. Then on Wednesdays, we have the Secret Group, we have Darwin's Pub, and we have the Speakeasy. It's called Phil and Derek Speakeasy. All of those are amazing comedians. One of my friends, Enrique Chacon, he's at the Secret Group, and he runs that. It's called Back of the Bus, and it's basically it's a play on the jokers in the back of the bus. Did you ever sit in the back of the bus?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, you sit in the back of the front.
I think I saw that on the street.
Depending who was in school that day and who wasn't going to school that day. Usually it's my turn to be in the back.
The crazier people are usually in the back, right? So it's called Back of the Bus. That's on Wednesdays, and on Thursdays there is the Houston, Texas Social, and then the Secret Group has another one. There's also Brass Tap, a friend of mine named Jeff Joe. He's killing it right now with another guy named Jesse Saldana. They do a show at the House of Blues. Yeah. And they're both headliners. They're super hilarious. It's a Brass Tap. Then Friday, we got the typical Pancho Claus. That's every Friday. Shout out to Pancho Claus. If you don't know who Pancho Claus is, please Google him. He's an amazing pillar of the Houston community. And that's every Friday at the Latino Learning Center. And then there's another show called the Big Easy Comedy Show. And I was asked recently about more comedy shows outside of downtown, midtown. And this one is actually on 1960. It's called the Big Easy Comedy Show. And then on Saturday, there's a brand new one by a friend of mine named Antonio Aguilar, and that's called the Backyard Comedy Show. And that he's literally in his backyard. Cool. And it's awesome. He has it set up, and he got the most expensive chairs that he could possibly get. And it's really nice set up with the backyard. So shout out to all the comedians. Please see some local comedians. And when you go to those big comedy clubs, they always have you fill out something like, who would you like to see? Please write in there you want to see some local Houston comedians. Just support local comedy. Yes.
I definitely appreciate local comedy. I went to, I think it was a secret club or the Red Box.
Secret group.
Yeah, secret group.
Yeah.
So behind it, it's called the Box.
The Box.
But it's the same building. Yeah. They just call it something different.
Yeah. Yes. I had a really good time that night, and it was relatively inexpensive. I had drinks. It was about 2 hours worth of entertainment.
Almost all those shows that I just mentioned are free, by the way, and that's the best part. You don't have to get a 2-drink minimum and all these things that the big comedy clubs do.
And that's one of the advantages and the information that we're discussing about, sharing with you guys, right? A lot of times folks aren't aware. They aren't aware.
Yeah, I mean, the communication is kind of sometimes not transferring because we don't even know that what comedy show is going on. Not everybody is like, pretty much popular on Facebook, right? Sometimes you need to actually go through different channels to get all the information.
Exactly.
I'm glad that you literally, kind of, I would say promoting this stuff because we have to support the local comedians, local business and everything. We all know pandemic has been hurt for all of us. For the last couple of years, the local businesses, the local artists got hit by, a lot financially or from other aspects. So I think we all have to, come together and support them.
And that brings it back to the whole reason why we're here, communication and collaboration.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing here to promote Sam's brand.
Thank you.
Yes.
Something else that I sense it. I think in the nature of when people hear free, it's a nature of, it's not valuable.
Right.
Exactly.
But
the quality is not good.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And then they miss out on this thought process on hidden gems. Because of not wanting to have the exchange. Oh, no, it's free, it's not. But this is folks that have been doing it for a long time. Meaning, how long have you been in the entertainment industry?
I've been a comedian for 12 years.
Man, so it's a lot of connections, a lot of things and it's a different environment that folks would get sometimes stuck in. Oh, let's just stay home and watch Netflix. No, how about you go out in the community, have some laughs in the local environment, and enjoy.
Exactly.
Enjoy, because there's a lot out there.
Because all the Netflix ads, they started from somewhere. They actually started in their colony.
Great point,
the
man.
local point, right?
Great
and
point.
they've made it to the top. So if they wouldn't have got the support from their local communities, they won't be able to, get it to that stage, right? So everybody needs support to start from somewhere.
Everyone starts somewhere, just like us in our previous studios, and now we're in this fabulous studio that we have set up because of your support. Subscribe, help us, we'll help you.
Let's do it. Now, to elaborate on the nature of what's happening today. Today we have an entertainer, an entrepreneur, a data scientist.
Data.
That's
in Spanish.
There's whenever I hear the word data.
Yes, I know that. It's kind of, like funny is that, that data thing is kind of colloquially, it's kind of pronounced same way that, my mother tongue is, okay? So I'm actually from eastern part of India, okay? So my mother tongue is Bengali. Okay. So the way you actually pronounce data, that thing, so in my mother tongue, if somebody would say that word data, it would actually say. So it's like funny, it's like, how all the languages are kind of like interconnected, like intertwined, right? So
I love that.
Fascinating.
I think some of them have, the beginning of Latin. Latin is the root language from a lot of
English, French, German, all the European languages.
Just little words that come in there.
Right.
And then now...
For Indian, it was actually Sanskrit.
Sanskrit.
Latin and Sanskrit is kind of like a counter, cousins, counter.
And then now, what would you call the languages that India has?
Hindi is actually the national language, but India is like a part of like a unity in diversity.
Yeah.
You move from one state to another, the language gets changed. Like in my state, we speak Bengali. We speak the same language the people from Bangladesh also speak. We actually
Now,
share the
are
same
these
mother tongue.
similar dialects with regards to their language, or are they like
No,
completely
the
different?
dialect is different. The way I speak Bengali is not the same way a Bangladeshi person speaks Bengali.
Yeah.
Our dialect, our pronunciation, everything is different.
Now, I'll say this though, in South America or in Spanish, it's not really actually the people call it Spanish, but it's Castilian.
Right.
And so there are a bunch of different dialects in all these countries where sometimes there's a lot of miscommunication about words that mean something wonderful in one language, something totally disgusting in the next. Like it's the same word.
Well, that's the diversity, like, and sometimes we may have to bring that diversity together to, like, just to tell people, maybe in the underlying, we all are the same.
Yeah.
We look different, our physical appearance is different, we don't talk in the same way like we want, but maybe, we have the same, there is somewhere we actually all connected.
100%.
Even if we are like, our countries are miles apart of each other, we grew up in a different parts of the world, but somehow we are still a human being. We are all kind of united together.
Yep.
That is something is very important. I want to share the message here. The way things are going on, the geopolitical situation, we have to make sure that humanity should stand together.
Unity.
We all united.
UNITY.
And I think that's a wonderful leeway into the next conversation that we were talking about, which is humanity versus the data scientists.
Bring it on home for us, Sam.
Or the AI that is coming, or the data that is flowing through the systems.
AI is coming, like Judgment
No,
Day.
no.
Like
I don't know. Hey, listen, I see data scientists as the folks that are like the person trying to tame that tiger, but it's the data scientists that they're looking into that information.
What's the tiger in this analogy?
The AI that's coming.
Okay, I like it.
The AI that's
Tame
coming.
the tiger.
Well,
Okay.
All right.
nonetheless, give us a little bit of information first on data, I guess, and then we'll move on to science, because the combination is not really the same as data science. It is, but it's different.
Thought there is some kind of obviously a lot of differences there.
Data
So let me
science
start with the data.
Yes, go.
So the data is that it's information.
Yes.
Everything out there. Okay.
Oh, and you see how it's broad.
Like
People
we're
say-
talking, okay?
Yeah.
So if somebody is just transform my speech
Yeah.
into a transcript,
Yeah.
that's a data.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we are doing something, we are, going to the grocery store. Okay, so we got a receipt. Okay, so the receipt is a data.
Yeah.
Okay, so every day, even some people were, and I'm not wearing my Fitbit.
Yep.
Okay, but most of us people wearing Fitbit,
Yep.
when they go for a run, they
Yeah.
do something.
Mhm.
Even sometimes people actually wear the watch when they are
Yeah.
even sleeping.
Yeah.
Because that will basically give them their sleeping matrix.
Right.
So everything is data. So our world is literally evolved around data because it's information. So now people will think, okay, I have a lot of information. How can I process? Simple thing. Okay, I have a lot of information. I don't know what the damn this information means. That's where we need experts. That's where we need people like data scientists, people like data analysts,
Yep.
data engineers, and
Yep.
so on and so forth.
Yeah. So I lost you when you moved on from data information into the processing part, because I was stuck. And I'm thinking, elaborate on the processing of the information, which my understanding, as you're giving me or expressing it, is data is the process of putting the information into a digitized system where it now becomes data. Am I understanding this properly?
Yes. Thing is like that. Think about it this way. When we generate data, we call it a raw data. Okay.
Oh, I see.
It's not
Raw.
processed. Okay.
Raw,
You're just
okay.
getting the data. Okay. You don't know what the meaning of the data. Okay. So you have thousands of data, and most of the data sets are not useful to you. You don't need that. Okay. So how do you filter down to the main information that you need? Doesn't matter. Forget about what job roles you have, what industry you work for. In every industry, one thing is common, that you're not going to use the full raw data set. Like whatever the data you have, you're not going to process that. You need specific information, right? So how are you going to do that? How are you going to derive that underlying pattern of the data that you can use for your business, for your personal interest, or anything else? Okay, so that's where the main data science or data analysis or data engineering things come across, because they help you to process the data so you can get the main, I would say, information or I would say the pattern of the data. And I
like
want to add
that
one
word.
thing over here because I'm a big like a detective kind of.
Oh, big detective.
Yes. So my
I know, right?
yeah, I grew up.
Okay, detective.
I don't
Okay,
have the
what am I
magnifying
thinking
glass.
right now?
I don't have the magnifying.
Analyze this.
What card am I thinking of?
So the thing is
Start
like
working.
that I grew up like reading Sherlock Holmes, okay?
Yeah.
Arthur Conan Doyle.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So when you were talking about data,
Yep.
okay? So for me, like when I used to read Sherlock Holmes, I've seen that how he used to analyze, like he went to like a murder spot and he used to analyze every single details that will help him to lead to that suspect.
I got
okay?
you. Yeah.
So that's kind of like a think about that. So that's you going to a murder zone and somebody got murdered. There's so many things out there, so many stuffs. The killers left behind.
Yeah, sure.
So those are data.
Yeah.
So now, how you can process those information that will help you to lead to the suspect,
Gotcha.
or you can pinpoint that.
Okay.
So that's kind of I mean that's how I got inspired into
Sherlock
coming
Holmes.
into this.
Sherlock
data
Holmes
science.
inspired you.
Because data science is more of like being a data detective.
Okay.
So you're finding a needle in a haystack of data,
Gotcha.
and once you find the needle, that's it. That's all you need.
Gotcha.
Would you say the process is the most important part?
Yes.
So it's about trusting the process as you go through it.
Well, if your process is foolproof, the process is foolproof.
The process
Okay,
is
yeah.
foolproof.
Every if nobody can say that my process is foolproof. I mean, no data scientist or even data analyst could say that whatever I analyzed is 100% true.
Right.
Because that's what science is. Because data science is also, I would say, a field of scientific study.
Sure.
Okay, and science is based on hypothesis.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so hypothesis
Yep,
is
I
what?
like
No hypothesis is 100%,
Gotcha.
right? You gotta prove your hypothesis, and that's how you go. Okay, so I don't want to use a lot of like scientific jargon now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but
I know
so
that.
that's why so when you come talk about science or data science or anything, okay, so nothing is like I would say always crystal clear, or nothing is like every information is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's why you need to process it. You need to like do hypothesis. You need to basically I would say analyze the data. You need to like think in a scientific way. You need to apply mathematics, statistics to find out. Okay, so the thing you are saying that's correct. Okay, you are saying that this thing lead to this. Okay, so prove me.
Okay.
And that's why like you have to prove it using your data science or analytical skill. Okay. I don't know. Is it answers your question or
Definitely.
I got some answers, but I got like 1,000 more questions.
Yes.
Well,
Go ahead, shoot.
if you want to go first, first, you moved over from data to science without like announcing it. You're like, hey, wait, hold on, Sam. We're still analyzing data. I'm still talking about the process of data, information data, who's collecting the data, why is this data valuable? Because you mentioned also several parts, which is discarding unused data or the parts that are not important.
Not important,
right?
yeah.
But that's really subjective in my perception. You know what I mean? Meaning, you get the bulk of the data. It depends what you're looking for or what's valuable for you.
What's
You know what I'm saying?
the end goal? Is that what the people are looking for in this data?
That
right?
is correct.
What is it?
That is correct.
Especially for someone who's layman or
Yeah.
not necessarily as adverse as you in this is okay. Here's my information. What is it? What is it that I even want? Right?
Correct.
Folks don't even know what they necessarily want. Is that where you?
That's why actually like when you're talking about the processing, the reason actually we had that leap from data to science, because when it comes to processing, it relates to like science. So you gotta actually define the data processing using the term science. But that's where the science come across. Now talking about your point that what's the end goal?
Right.
What's the outcome?
Yeah.
So that's where like you need to think about that what that data science thing would do. Like are you trying to come up with a better decision for your business? Like suppose, let me give you an example. Okay,
Sure.
so for example, you are a real estate broker or something. Like you want to do some analyze. Like you want to analyze the.
That's a great example because real estate is booming
Houston
right now.
housing, house pricing data. Okay.
Right.
Or maybe you are just a data scientist trying to sell your house.
Okay.
So in this one example, you are somebody trying to sell a house.
Yeah.
Perfect. Got
Okay.
it.
And that guy is a data scientist. Okay.
Okay, right. But not a real estate agent.
Yeah, like my.
Because what if it was a real estate agent with the data scientist background?
Possible.
All right, keep going.
So now, so that person wants to understand, okay, So I have a house, that's square feet, 3 bedrooms,
Sure.
3 bathrooms, I have like a long backyards. My location is like in that particular area zip code. How I can predict that my house price would look like 6 months down the line, okay, or 1 year from now, okay? How that person would come up with that prediction, right? Because if you check different websites like HAR, Zillow, they all have some kind of a bot. It always tell you, okay, your house prediction would be like around this. How that happens? Has ever that person come to your head? Okay, so how they're
especially the way the market is right now.
I mean, like,
my actual concern, to be honest with you, whenever I see HAR or the other, is that they're not actually actualizing the data properly enough.
But they're still trying to give a prediction.
Yeah, but my impression is that even those companies that are analyzing data, and my impression is that they have the data scientists behind them, I just don't think that they're...
That actually brings me to his question, because he mentioned one thing. Okay, we are processing data. How do we know that the accuracy of that model is correct? Right. So that's why I'm going to go back to my previous statement. No model is foolproof. Nothing is 100% proof, okay? And I'm going to say it out loud, okay? Nobody can tell that my hypothesis is 100% correct because there are so many external factors there, okay? Like I'm telling you, so like, I guess we learned about 2 metrics when we were in high school.
Okay.
One is, pardon me if it is very like technical.
Sure.
So one is quantitative, and another is qualitative.
Yeah.
So quantitative is like, numbers. Qualitative is like our human acumen or like emotional thing, right? So many times when you build a model, we only think about the numbers, quantitative, right? So many times we usually don't consider that qualitative metrics in our model, and sometimes those metrics become a determining factor for prediction.
I gotcha.
But it's not possible for a model to consider that, because a model is statistics, like you always like consider math or numbers or something like that. So that's where sometimes your house price prediction model could go wrong. That's why Zillow, they usually don't give you accurate things, because
that's how Trump became president.
Because they don't know how things were gonna fall apart.
How he became president.
What if some kind of a big incident happened?
Nobody thought he was gonna do it.
That's the incident.
Everybody predicted Hillary was gonna win.
Well, that's another thing,
What?
Because the model.
That's all that you were speaking of.
Yeah,
right?
everybody did. Yeah, they didn't actually consider that what's going on.
That's a good one.
I woke up in the morning. Every data scientist on earth failed me last night.
Actually, made $100 on that.
Yeah, I mean, whoever actually bet on Trump,
I bet on it. I love to bet on it.
I couldn't believe it.
I did it.
No, you couldn't believe it. I mean, things happen how they happen.
And
I was just such a shock.
I would gladly give $100 back, though.
But now, tell you this though. You can argue the opposite direction with regards to the other folks who are saying, "Hey, no, we predicted that we were going to win."
And all these political campaigns, they have like hundreds of data analysts working from them. They always like process data for a year during the political campaign.
Right.
Wow.
All this data getting processed. Is my perception is similar, very similar to how food started getting processed here in the U.S. Okay, so my perception is this data is getting processed by folks who are not really have our best interest at heart. They're really looking for something to get out of this data.
The government doesn't have our best interest at heart? No way.
Okay, so when somebody publishes that
processing,
Hillary is going to win, Trump is processing. Well, is there the data was like gone through a quality control? Is there is a fact check?
Who's in charge of the quality control? Right. Yeah. Who's in charge of that?
So how are we going to actually make sure that, okay, whatever you just stated, you can literally assert it that and that's going to come true, It's not possible. Sometimes, think about soccer games. Okay. Everybody.
Which one?
I mean, I could tell that there is one soccer game, like Brazil got trashed by Germany, 7-1.
When was this?
2014 World Cup, Soccer World Cup.
Oh, I remember that.
That was actually in front of like 1,000 Brazilian crowd.
Let me ask you this question though. When was the last time Brazil won a World Cup? Do you remember this?
It was back in 2002 Soccer World Cup. Yeah, that was like the World Cup happened. It was organized in Japan and South Korea. It was very memorable World Cup for me because I watched each and every
No kidding.
day.
This year it's happening, but in late. It's happening like in August.
It's happening,
October.
Because of the weather situation.
Yeah.
Because
Oh man, it's gonna be super exciting.
It's freaking hot in summertime.
Yeah.
That's why they pushed it back.
Oh,
I gotcha.
is that way?
So so going back to this, this thing like soccer. There's so many predictions happened. So many data scientists predicted that Brazil is gonna thrash Germany.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that the German would gonna actually pounded them, literally pounded them with 7-1.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the prediction, all the models gone wrong.
Right.
So that's the thing. That's
fascinating.
Sometimes reality
that.
doesn't match with the prediction.
It's what they probability factor is a big one. Meaning, okay, what's the percentage of predictability? So when people say, like you mentioned, oh, it's 100%, immediately think, that's not probable.
But sports are special.
Let me stop it. How do you define probability? You define probability based on historical record.
Yeah.
And it never happened to Brazil like they got beaten by Germany like that in front of their home crowd. It never happened. Yeah. So when you build a model, that's also an important factor. People should know why the model could go wrong.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there is some kind of, I would say, unforeseen event.
External factors.
External factor.
Like
or unforeseeable
human
scenario. It never happened before.
The coach maybe hurt,
If it never happened before, your model would know, it won't be able to know that how they will predict based on that circumstances.
Right.
So that's why we always need to have that 1 to 2% of, I would say, like the deficiency in model.
It's like the Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas thing.
I mean, like for a data scientist, I don't think so. Our benchmark will always
also.
be.
Yeah, but I remember Buster Douglas was in the 90s.
But
that was
special. But the external factor there was that Mike Tyson partied the night before.
And
the same thing with the Brazilians. Who know if they partied the night before?
Do you really think a model could actually? Mike Tyson has been partied. Right before the Rumble.
And that's a variable that they're not considering.
That's the qualitative one. That's where actually, Alex, I wanted to mention that you can train a model with quantitative metrics like numbers.
Gotcha.
You can't train a model with a qualitative that
that
Mike Tyson partied before the game. That's a qualitative measure.
And that's yes and no. I guess at some maybe in today's environment it's not viable. However, these are growing at a super fast rate. And one of the reasons why my intrigue after watching your channel and understanding your level of engagement with regards to the data science environment, was the ability for our audience to understand that this is going on. A lot of folks, people do understand. They have a sensation like, I think they're watching me. I think they're collecting my stuff.
Information like that is available now. Like for instance, because everybody has their phone. So if it was today, everybody, look, Mike Tyson's out tonight, and it'd be on Twitter.
Shift.
And then immediately you see the odds in Vegas change.
Yeah.
Right.
So those things that were not predictable back then, because there was not that much social media, there was not that connectivity, shift, and now they could be available now.
Yeah. That basically brings me to the next part of the data. You guys heard about big data, right?
Oh,
big data.
Who hasn't?
Yeah. So this is where the big data comes into picture. Okay. Like talking about all this data science and everything, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
All these things have been around since 1930 or 40. Okay.
I mean,
have you guys watched the movie The Imitation Game back in 2014?
Yeah. Imitation Game.
Imitation Game. So that movie was based on a famous mathematician from UK. Okay, so his name is Alan Turing. So what Alan Turing did is back in when the Second World War was going on, so British embassy, the government, they actually hired him to build a kind of a machine, and that machine would decipher Nazi code, which is called Enigma.
Yeah.
So he built a machine that literally kind of deciphered the code. Yeah. So the UK military, they would be able to know where Germans are deploying their military or what will be the next move. So that literally changed the paradigm of the war. Okay. So there's a great movie, An Imitation Game. It was released back in 2014. I think the movie is on either Amazon Prime or Netflix. Yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch actually portrayed
check that out.
So the reason I mentioned that the machine he built, that was also an artificial intelligence. Yeah. Because artificial intelligence is not like Terminator or robot. Yeah, it is. But artificial intelligence, simple term, it is that it gives the machine, or it's kind of a technique that gives machine the ability to mimic human behavior.
Correct.
Like a calculator is also an artificial intelligence. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but a calculator, you can't call it artificial intelligence because a calculation, what your human mind won't be able to do in a quicker manner, a calculator would be able to do that. So the basic idea of artificial intelligence is to mimic human behaviors.
I think what we're elaborating is the definition of not just AI, more like a cognitive AI that can make its own decisions. And so
that is where we are coming now.
Okay? Yes.
And the only way to beat that is the human experience.
Cognitive AI was not possible back in those days. We didn't have enough data.
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to teach your models, think about training your puppy. Okay, like you just got a puppy. You need to actually train your puppy, like behavioral training and all kind of stuff, right?
Is that what's happening with cats these days? Is that why people are loving cats?
Yeah. You can train a parrot to poop in the toilet.
So think about your data science model like a puppy. Okay, so you have to feed all kind of information.
They do have those. They have the puppy.
So it was not possible because we didn't have enough data back in those days. But after this big data revolution, now we have the capacity to train our model with enough data, gigabyte of data, terabyte of data. So more data you would feed into your model, it will memorize that processing.
Yeah. But it's not just more data. It's organized more data.
It's organized
data
more
with a
data.
pattern.
That's also, and that's why we have to process the data.
Repetitive pattern.
And now you can train your puppy to poop in the toilet.
Exactly. And also think about that, the autonomous car. Since we are getting into the cognitive AI, like Tesla autonomous car.
Yes.
How the hell did a car is literally just driving on the street by itself?
I mean, are you asking me? You want to go through the
No,
details?
I'm just thinking about that.
Yeah, we'll go through the details if that's what you're asking me for. Data science.
The way things is happening is that there's a thing called computer vision. That's actually a subset of AI. So what they're doing is like before they build the model, which will be like inbuilt in the car, autonomous car. So they're driving, they're taking pictures of each intersection. They're taking picture of different road condition, and then those are like a data. And they built a model by feeding those data as simulation. So now your model, the Tesla autonomous car would know, okay, if I drive on 69, if I go into that intersection, there'll be traffic, there'll be a lot of cars over there. Or, they would understand that how the car type look like, how a human object would look like, how a tree would look like, like this is machine, right? For them, it's like a newborn baby or a newborn puppy. They don't know anything, right? So you got to actually train them. So once they get more data, so they would be, familiar with more information, and that's how they would get into that. Now, there's a lot of debate going on that is there a way we can train a human, a bot, which will literally replace a human.
And that's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part.
Because the human condition is so different.
Because
curveballs all the time.
Yeah, the human does have conscience.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't teach a bot what is conscious. That's an emotional question, right? It's an emotional thing. So that's where the revolution of AI might get stuck. Maybe not proceed further because you can't just put all kind of emotional capacity or kind of a qualitative.
Is that why the autonomous car hasn't been successful yet, or
hasn't been available yet? It's not been successful, and most of the cases, the accident happened at intersection. You know why? Because there will be some pricks will always drive on red,
right?
And your car won't be able to predict that because your car would say, "Oh, everybody's decent. Everybody's just drive on green."
Or you got a meth addict running down the street, or someone coming to clean the windshields and stuff like that. Right?
Well, I would assume as more vehicles become autonomous and the society starts moving in those directions, they'll start communicating.
That's exactly what started in China. I was reading an article. They're actually coming up with a device. They're not going to build autonomous car. Rather, they will implant some kind of a machine in each car. So each car will talk to each other. Right. So there'll be an AI bot in your car, there'll be in my car. They'll talk to each other. So they would basically know where you are heading. So, that's how they will communicate. So that makes more sense.
That makes a lot more sense.
It makes more sense for people that want to be okay with other folks letting them know where their car is.
So many people won't be.
I don't want that thing on my network in my car.
Sleep while I'm driving.
Because they will say, okay.
I don't want to be in that network. I want to worry about my
they don't want
There's a crackhead on that corner. Careful.
They want their car to get bugged. Because they will say, okay, US government is going to spy on us if I put something in my car.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the nature of the the exchange.
Yeah,
less accidents, more secure
It's
network.
Give and take, man.
It's a
Give
trade-off.
and
You know,
take.
like you gotta do something.
And folks are understanding of this trade-off. But I don't know what I'm not sure of, which is why the nature of the invitation to come to the episode is if they understand at what level we are with that trade-off. Where folks are like, oh, I'm just trading off here. Whereas like we're actually trading off a lot. And the more that we're not informed, the farther back we're able to see.
So that's why I was trying to give you like this real life example. Because these are all going on right now.
Right.
If we go on the internet, we see videos Tesla autonomous cars. People are giving description about, okay, so now you're going to EV. Your next option would be to buy an autonomous car. So like they will do shopping for you. Like next, I mean, we are getting in that direction.
It's happening already, and it's a predictable pattern in the sense that folks have been predicted that this is going to start happening.
Yeah.
And then what I'm not sure of is if it's happening because of the prediction, which is self-fulfilling situation, or if it was really a pattern that we were already coming into. This is a conundrum that
I mean, one more example. I just want to wrap up this part by giving you one more example about what is this cognitive AI going to look like and what is going on in the real world. Amazon started their grocery store called Amazon Go. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
I think so.
So I've been to that store in Seattle. I think they only have one store in Seattle in their Amazon office. So what it does is like there will be no counter. There will be no human person who's going to check you out.
I have heard of this.
So you're just going to walk into the store. You have the Amazon app with you. So they will actually track your movement inside the store. So whatever the item you will pick up, it will automatically add you to Amazon cart. So once you just go out of the store, you'll automatically like you have your credit card over there, so they charged you, your credit card or your bank account. Or
what happens when you take an item out
and put it back?
Yeah, you don't want it, but you put it in another area.
I did that. Okay. Yes.
You did that on purpose?
Studying it up, baby.
So me and my cousin's sister, who actually works for Twitter, so they live in Seattle.
Let me test this.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we're going to actually break their system. I mean, it was back in 2018. They just started that. So what I did, we can literally go into a store. I picked up a protein bar and put in a vegetable area. Okay, so... But you know what? They actually first showed me that they added that protein bar to my account. Then after that, they subtracted.
Oh, they did subtract it.
It took them like 5 to 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Oh, I thought you say days. Okay, great. That's not bad at all.
Here's my question. Now, what if somebody else comes back and picks up that same item that you've wrongfully placed and picks it up?
Because what they're going to do, they'll still be able to detect it because they're tracking your movement. There are like 1,000 cameras within this, like a shot. It's like a very small storage because they actually they're literally tracking each one of your movements. Like if you go and pick up something,
they must be tracking the items too as well.
Like inventory-wise? Yeah, it's a full computer vision. It's like a totally like a high, the cutting edge computer vision technology. They're moving, tracking your movement.
Sounds like the security guard at Macy's whenever people would try to steal something and they hey.
So that could be a future, but here is the deal.
Bye security guard from Macy's.
They give me flashbacks back in the day. What's in your pocket?
Nothing. I'm already wearing everything now.
So the reason I actually brought up because Amazon was not so successful, like marketing that Amazon's because around the same time they started their, they had the merger acquisition with Whole Foods, right? Amazon bought Whole Foods at that time. Right. So the idea was they're going to create a kind of a little bit of space within all the Whole Foods, market, so that they would actually run the Amazon Go store within the Whole Foods area. But I don't think so that strategy, whatever the strategy they put in place, were able to implement it across the country. Because right now, if I'm not mistaken, they only had that, have the Amazon Go store operating in Seattle, and maybe they started in one more city. It's just not on top of my head, but they're not able to just transform it into a full scale level across.
So you have to have an Amazon account to walk in the store.
You have to have an Amazon.
Because I'm thinking, what about like homeless people, crackheads go in and steal something? Like how would they track that?
Exactly, that's the main thing, because for that they need to actually have a kind of a security guard. But it's like a lot of like
AI security guard.
It's the operating cost who's gonna go high. So I'm not sure because there's a thing called ROI, return on investment, right?
Yeah.
So any company, Whole Foods or any marketplace, if before they implement that in their store, they would obviously try to do some return on investment calculation. I'm not sure that it's going to be very profitable for them.
That's probably why it's not in San Francisco.
Cost, yeah, and especially, I think we would just see them in Seattle or in the.
There are other factors, though. With regards to implementation of a strategy of this grandeur, I would say. One is pushback from people talking about, hey, what about the jobs that you're about to cut in the store from the host group? That's one.
They took our jobs, man.
Well, the thing is, it's one of the natures of this communication is because those jobs at some point in time, I mean, they may be okay now, but at some point in time, a little bit at a time, they may not be needed anymore. And so what would be needed is people that can do more complex tasks that the machines are starting to take over.
Yes, that's a really good point. I mean, I'm glad that you just mentioned, we can get into that segue, because there is also a huge debate going on, is that machine is going to take over our jobs.
Who?
Machine.
Right.
Machines.
Bots.
Well, some jobs.
Everybody.
And so what I would say is,
Get rid of John Connor. We need you.
It's cool for that to happen in a way where we're all smiling and happy at the end and having a good time while the machines and all that, and the AI is cool with like doing the tasks that we don't want to do.
I don't know.
But if we get like a jealous AI,
but
because it picked up the wrong patterns.
So the one thing, people who are supporting this, again, I'm a data scientist, but that doesn't mean I am totally aligned with the idea of like transforming everything in the space of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
It's not like that you got to actually implement everything.
Right.
Why is that?
Like
we're organic intelligence.
I really get irritated when I'm spending 10 minutes of my time talking to a bot for a help desk, or something like that.
Right.
But every time you call a damn help desk, it will take you to the bot.
Right.
Most of the time, they won't redirect your phone to the concerned party.
Right.
Every time you're just gonna stuck in the loop and like it's going on forever.
Oh my God.
So
Customer service.
so I'm not like I would say fully supportive of that transformation, but look on the other side, so what the people are saying, and we're actually, trying to revolutionize in every industry in the AI space. They're saying that it's not going to cut jobs, rather it's going to create more jobs. But it's like, it will create more jobs, but we as a human being, we need to learn more skills.
Yes.
We're going to elevate our skills,
just that,
or it will be more of a technical skills. People will stop going to schools. What they're going to do, people will actually going to sit at their home and do a technical certification.
I mean,
how is it going to create more jobs? Because I'm thinking of like the self-checkout. Right, the self-checkout now has one person controlling 10, right, as opposed to one person beat. So how would it create more?
Well, one thing they're saying that, it's not going to create more jobs in the checkout area. It's like their role is going to change. Maybe they're going to come up with something like there'll be more people in the surveillance room monitoring the movement.
Interesting.
Think about that. So their roles will be changed. They won't be sitting, in front of the checking counter.
Or working on the cameras.
They're working on the camera. They're going to track movement. So there'll be more people work behind the computer. So the way that things are transforming, more people will be like tech savvy or literate in computer than they were before. And I think it's the correct time to start that, because we are millennials.
Yeah.
We literally see the transformation, how technology is kind of taking over.
Right.
So it's not be possible for the baby boomers, with all due respects. But maybe the millennials are going to start their thing, and then eventually, I guess, the Gen Z, the next generation, will take it over. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. Okay, I wish this.
He just said he has a crystal ball, and he has to prove 100% foolproof.
100%.
Don't come after me.
The premium advantage. Okay.
Data science with Sam. Comment on his.
For real. Okay. So
good discussion.
That's good. That's great.
So we're talking about data science, and we're talking about the value that it has, and what we don't know that could help us, and what we don't know that could hurt us if we're not aware of what's happening, of all this data that is getting processed and scienced. You know what I'm saying?
Look like a black box if you don't know.
Now, if you're interested in developing this mindset, or this career path, or this skill set, I guess you could call it, of data science, what would be something that you could consider something that you could show the audience with regards to what it takes to be a data scientist? Is that something that that we can show?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question, because we talked about data science and people are saying, what I'm talking, it seems like a gibberish to me. How I'm going to get into that path? Because it's all about, not about like, making a plan, rather how you're going to implement it, right? So that's kind of data scientists do. Like they, figure out how to implement the strategy from an analytical point of view or something. So I can actually show you guys something that how you can transition into a data science field. I mean, what are the key skill set that you need to become a data scientist?
Key skill. Hold on one second. Let's list these up. So computer science, IT.
Let me stand up.
Go.
All right.
Machine learning, math science, data science.
So this is actually a very beautiful, very popular Venn diagram. So whoever wants to be a data scientist,
it's popular, it's not copyrighted. Perfect.
Whatever you can call it.
You told me to put it on here.
Data science with Sam.
I should put the copyright sign. Okay, but anyway, so the thing is like that. This Venn diagram, what it represents that what are the skill set that you need to become a data scientist, regardless of which industry you work for. So doesn't matter.
Because it's great for every industry to get this information to get that goal.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that. Great. So first, it starts with computer science or IT. You need to be, very flexible or very familiar with computer.
Because
when I'm talking about the computer, it's like I'm talking about the programming language. Like you're going to make the model, you need to teach computer, okay, what programming language,
Do you have a degree in computer science? Or?
I do have a degree in computer science. I actually did my bachelor degree in computer science from an university in India. Then I came over here, then I completed my master's degree in data science from University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So I'm an UIUC alumni.
I actually have a degree in computer science as well from University of Houston.
Houston?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so now, when we are talking about this computers and IT, okay, people are saying, okay, so how do I get into computer science? You can get a degree, or you can learn a programming language. I mean, choose your best programming language. There are so many programming languages now kind of popular among the data science communities, but for your audience, I would actually point out two programming language, and there is one database. So one programming language is Python. That's a really popular programming language.
Like the snake.
Yeah. And if you really want to get into the data science field, please try to start, learning the Python programming language. The next one is R. So R is kind of like, I would say it's not a programming language, it's more of like a statistical language.
Okay.
R
it's
like
just R. R as Romeo.
R
as a rodeo. R as a rodeo. R as a rodeo. We're Texans, right? So the R and Python, these are the two popular languages that people are using right now to just get into the data science field, do all kind of analysis and other stuff.
Okay.
And there is another thing. When you work on data, you need to create a database. Right?
Excel,
so when you're talking about database,
you use Excel.
Excel is not a database. Okay, Excel is not a database. Okay, that's a misconception people have.
So what's database?
So database is because you can't. I mean, it's difficult to keep 1,000 gigabytes of data in Excel. You can't do that. The Excel will crash. Okay, that's why we need a database, because database will give you that ability to synthesize the data, process the data, and query the data so you can get information very quickly.
Gotcha.
That's why we need database. So now, since you already done your computer science, you know that how efficient a database would be to query or get information quickly.
Yeah.
So there's, again, when it comes to database, there are so many database languages out there. So there is one of my favorites was like SQL. SQL is a really great programming database language. So many people are efficient in Oracle, but again, it depends on which kind of database you're using. Okay,
and Oracle is always progressing. Also, like so you see, as you learn what C++ things, they tend to kind of progress, and you have to keep up on them as they challenge.
Again, that's a really good point. Because SQL Server is a Microsoft product,
right,
and they keep updating their system.
Right.
So when you work in an industry, okay, so you always have to get up to date your software, so that it won't be vulnerable against the cybersecurity. Because most of the hackers, most of the software, if the outdated softwares are very prone to hacking. So all the cybersecurity people, they usually always tell you, oh, keep updating your software. You use MacBook or you use Windows, right? You keep getting notification, oh, update your operating system. Why you get that? Because the reason actually they're saying that the software update will safeguard your computer from external cyber attack.
I see.
Okay, so that's the main reason.
Got it.
Okay, so going back to this computer science idea, so if you really want to be a data scientist, just learn R, Python, these two programming languages, and try to be efficient in one of the database language. I would definitely give you a recommendation to learn SQL. SQL or MySQL, the same thing. If you learn either of those two languages, then
Python and SQL.
Python and SQL. These are the two things. Okay, so now once we get done with the computer science part, and this is the part of the one of the big circles of the Venn diagram. The next one is math and statistics. So that's where the things getting a little complicated. So when you're talking about, okay, you are telling me that you have a database, you know some programming language, so I can actually use the SQL or Python to pull some data from database. Then what? Okay, so after that, what I'm going to do with the data, okay, how I'm going to analyze it further, or how I can build a model by getting the data from those database. So in those cases, you need to understand the mathematics or statistics behind it. Like you need to, when I'm talking about mathematics, it's not only about knowing the probability function, it's also knowing about how you can develop a model that can predict something. Like for example, I'm not going to get into those, like technical jargons here, but there is a thing called when you predict, say suppose financial forecasting or cryptocurrency prediction, stock prediction, okay? So what do? Okay, so you basically collect the data, historical data, okay? You run it through a model, and that model, we call it as a linear regression model. That's like a very basic model.
Linear regression model, from my understanding, from my understanding of a linear regression model, is a model that looks at past events, looks at them, organizes them, and it creates, but it depends also which points you use, because if you use the wrong points, you may create the wrong predictive model.
Exactly. Because linear regression is like, you don't have to be a data scientist to know linear regression, because I think in high school mathematics, they literally taught us about linear regression.
Like algebra?
Yeah, it's linear algebra.
Linear algebra.
I learned in kindergarten.
It's linear algebra. It's like y equal to that mx plus c, that thing, So that's the basic foundation of regression model. So people will talk about that, oh, you're talking about mathematics.
Yeah, because some people don't love math.
Yeah, we learned some basics of all these, statistics in high school. Linear algebra. I'm not even talking about calculus. Forget about calculus. Okay.
What's calculus?
So if you learn linear algebra, then you know what at least you can tell I have a kind of a basic foundation to learn more on that. So so these mathematics and statistics, computer science, couple it together. So once you join this together, you are actually in a good shape to build model of machine learning. So now the next part is coming domain and business knowledge. So what is this?
This is the part where we really need to be aware of, because this is one of my concerns. About all the concerns, a bunch. It's because we're here. Starting with isolate this concern.
Subscribe.
Business. This business knowledge is the business that
you are going to work on, specific to your industry.
We need it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like suppose you are, Robert, who is a financial analyst, okay? So he wants to hire a data scientist, okay? So in that case, how he's going to interview that, suppose you actually appointed somebody else to take interview in computer science, mathematics, and you are only going to focus on the domain, business knowledge part. So what you're going to ask that data scientist during the interview process. You're gonna ask, do you know basic about finance? Or do you know what this thing or that matrix is? So because that thing is very important. Like I work at AIG, insurance. So I've been working in insurance industry for more than 10 years. Okay, so I do have that insurance, business acumen that I can apply to my, data science or data analytics skill. So, but if somebody would ask me, okay, go to another industry, go to healthcare or, manufacturing or retail. So in that case, there are two options data scientists would have in that case if they switch industry. Either first option is they will collaborate with the subject matter expertise of that industry, or they will acquire the business knowledge by themselves and they will apply that. Because that's also important, because if you don't know, because when you're talking about business knowledge, that you need to understand the data. Because when you're talking about data is like a table. Okay, so suppose a data set has like 10 columns. But you don't know which column you need to choose to build your prediction model. So that knowledge would come from this. Okay, like if I come to like a insurance industry, like one of the biggest factor of our insurance industry is the policy number.
Yeah.
You know, like policy we booked, you know, we have unique number or something like that. Something in finance area. So how would you know all these nodes? For that, you need to basically develop your business knowledge.
Questions?
Yep.
Questions?
Why would a financial analyst, let's say who works for like a brokerage firm, want to hire a data scientist? Wouldn't they think that they know everything about that information?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So the reason actually this data science thing is coming along in different industry, because when a financial analyst would actually work on, like suppose building a model or something like that, their limitation, sometimes they would have limitation in the sense that they might not be very efficient in computer science area. They might be very efficient in these two areas.
I see what you mean.
And they need a data scientist to add that extra skill set in programming language, which they can utilize, leverage to build a prediction model in the sense of artificial intelligence, machine learning. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The reason I'm telling that because I work in the insurance industry. We do have actuaries. And actuaries are the traditional data scientists. I mean, I don't know, you have any actuaries in your viewer list? Yeah, the actuaries.
What is that? I haven't even, what is that?
So it's an actuarial science. It's like in insurance world, we do risk assessment.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so we do, like for example, you book a policy, right? So what your insurance company will do, they say, okay, Jacinto, he's like, you know, mid-30, he does this, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, his lifestyle is pretty good.
Shoot, I wish.
So, I know that information is not correct, but I'm just saying. And his medical records are
want
pretty
your
good.
blood, though. They want your blood.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like he goes
so now,
bungee jumping. He does all these extra things.
So now, who will actually gonna assess the risk? Who is gonna tell you that how much insurance premium you're gonna pay? Okay, so that calculation, that the risk assessment starts from the actual department, and it would go up to the underwriters. And underwriter is the last person who is actually define what will be your insurance premium.
Okay.
Have you noticed that whenever you go to an insurance website, they'll ask for all the information, your age, your medical records, smoker, non-smoker. So this, so again, not to brag about a lot of stuff, but the smoking is one of the biggest metrics to determine someone's insurance premium.
Smoking what?
Yeah, because if you smoke, your insurance premium will go up. So yeah, if you guys are thinking of quit smoking, please do that, because that will definitely lower your insurance premium.
Tobacco. Talk about tobacco.
Yes.
Okay. Just clarifying on that. Shout out to my friends in California.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So that's one of the biggest factors. So yeah. So okay. Yeah, we're talking about this computer science IT. So that's why. So actuaries, what they do, they can collaborate with data scientists. So they may not be a lot of efficient in computer science. They might know programming language, but they don't know how to scale up their code so it can build something bigger. So that's why they need to collaborate with everyone. So being a data scientist, if you want to be a super data scientist, like Superman data scientist.
Super data scientist.
So you need, if you have all these skill set, like you already have computer science skill, and you have like knowledge in mathematics and statistics, coupled with domain and business knowledge, there you go. You can call yourself a data scientist.
You put that S on your chest, bam! Super data scientist!
So think about that, just like memorize this Venn diagram. If you really want to be a data scientist, at least you need to make sure that you have these two important skill sets under your
Which
belt.
one were they? Computer and math?
Computer science and mathematics.
At least math. If anything, at least math.
Hey,
that's a big one, because a lot of people don't like math.
No, but one more thing. If you, you took computer science for undergrad, right?
Yeah.
You know that we do have mathematics in our first and second semester.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and why do we have that?
I would always differentiate.
Why do we have that?
Man.
Because computer science is also kind of the fundamental, the thing is based on statistics.
Sure.
Computer is nothing but a Boolean number, 0 and 1. Okay, it starts from mathematics or mathematical number. So being a computer science, people would actually a little bit about mathematics, statistics.
We have to. Yeah.
So in a nutshell, if you have this 3 skill set, I think you're ready to get into the data science field.
Gotcha.
At least if you have some R, if you know Python and SQL, and you have some basic knowledge in mathematics and statistics, you can definitely get into that. There are a lot of online certifications out there. You can also get into there's a website called Coursera. It's like an education platform.
Coursera?
Yeah, it's called Coursera. It's an education platform. You can just go there. You can do some online certification, like 5.
We'll put that in the description.
Yeah, just put that in, just check in the description. Just do a 5-6 months online certification.
That's all it takes, about 5-6 months.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
There are so many online certifications on data science that out there that you can even think.
Now, do you have to have some sort of background in these things to go ahead to be good?
Sometime, but there are like 3. That's a really good question actually. There are 3 different levels they set in the Coursera platform.
Okay.
I think one is beginner's level, intermediate level, expert, advanced level.
Sure.
So you can start at the beginner level. Okay, so there I think they would teach you probability and all kind of stuff that you learned in your computer science class or high school. Okay, they will actually start with the linear algebra and something. There are some certifications out there. Just check the video caption. We'll share this information there. So yeah, so those kind of certification would be really helpful for someone who would like to get into that field, because not everybody want to go to school, spend 2 years like I did to learn data science. But in some cases, if you have short 5-6 months, you can literally get into that. But one thing, so I'm gonna actually wanted to say my last statement would be that how you can become a data scientist. I know you need to learn programming language. I know you need to learn mathematics. I know you need to have some business domain knowledge. But one thing above all, you need to be curious. You need to have the perseverance to become a data scientist.
That's it right there.
Because that's the main important thing.
Yep.
Not about data scientists, every field, okay?
Yeah.
If you have curiosity, if you love what you want to do, if you love doing what you're doing right now, then I think you're fine. You don't have to get into data science. Maybe that's not your area, okay? Yeah. But if you really think that, okay, this data science thing seems very intriguing, let's try that. And then after that you start loving it, then maybe you can go for it. Because it doesn't matter whether you know R or Python or SQL, Oracle, because all this skill set, anybody can teach anyone. But one thing people can't teach you is the curiosity. Because again, I just said, data scientist to me is more of like a data detective. Yeah. Okay, so that's where the curiosity comes.
With whichever field you're in, this is valuable information to have. Whether you learn it yourself or hire someone like you to improve their business.
That skill. Because you can train someone, you can train monkey about some skill, but you can't train monkey that how to grow interest. There's a quote that I forgot the quote, so I just made it.
I like that quote though. I like that quote.
but there's a quote.
Can we put that on a t-shirt?
So always, curiosity and perseverance. You need to have those 2 factors.
Be a monkey.
I mean, I think I read a quote, I forgot about that. There is I guess NASA scientist or SpaceX scientist who got rejected by NASA like a few years back, but he always wanted to be an astronaut. But now he landed a job at SpaceX. He's doing the same thing what NASA is doing.
Speaking of monkeys and astronauts, didn't we send monkeys initially? And did they train?
Luca, it is Luca? What is that?
Okay, sure.
And
they trained it to use buttons up there while it was doing things, right?
And now they're doing the same monkey experiment in what is that Elon Musk company? They started on Neuralink.
Oh, Neuralink. Oh yeah.
So what they're doing, they're actually putting a brain chip in the monkey's brain, and monkey's playing ping pongs, and it's totally controlled by the chip.
Yeah.
Okay, so monkey's not doing anything. Yeah, there's a famous video out there on that. So
can we find that somewhere?
Just look for Neuralink monkey ping pong. It's gonna show up. There are so many YouTube links.
I cannot wait to see this. That sounds awesome.
So that's the thing. It's all about curiosity, perseverance, and just broaden your horizon. Think big. I think that's why we can get.
Wow. I like it.
All right. So that's all for now. Hopefully, this will give you enough information that how you can transition into the data science field. But it's very important that how you can actually get into that. These are the prerequisites that you need to become a data scientist. So just check that out.
Cool. Whoa, man. That was a very informative section of our episode. Now, in my mind, when I saw data science, I saw robots. I saw a little deal there, and I saw a little head there, and I'm going, okay.
Let me clarify that. Okay.
Yeah, we got 2 things here. And
see, the bot is representing AI.
Yes.
This one is representing deep learning or whatever neural is doing. This one is my man, detective, magnifying glass.
Sherlock Holmes.
I thought that was as long as the presentation was going to be with regards to the Venn diagram. I was like, oh, it's deeper than the 3 things. We have 5 things. I like it. Yeah. Because it entails with regards to how much more
you can do.
That is correct. And the amount.
I can talk about it all day. I mean, I know we have a limited time, but
Yeah, well, the most important part is for folks to understand that there is a field out there that is growing. And it doesn't take a lot of population to use this. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get the data, you're able to use it.
You can learn it from home. All you need is a computer.
And on top of that, you have to understand that it is also being used by businesses. It is a growing thing in businesses. The data is getting processed. That information is there's value in that data. You should be understanding of this because this is all around.
I mean,
okay?
I don't actually have the statistics on top of my head, but data science, that particular role, is kind of like has the fastest growing jobs or roles in the market right now.
I would definitely understand.
There are like so many people would like to get into this field, not because it's a hot topic or something.
No, but whether they get into the field or not, they need to understand how valuable the field is.
That's right. It's not like everybody can become a data scientist.
Sure.
You still need to have that mindset.
Yeah, and like math.
How does this all plug into today's environment?
Yes, what does it mean for me?
For real.
Right?
In the sense that folks are like, okay, great. Now you told me how I want to become a data scientist, which a lot of people I would say are like, yeah, I'm okay with that.
A lot of people don't even like algebra.
Hey, a lot of people would have turned the channel off already. They're like, oh no, they're talking about too much.
Yeah, they're talking about some sci-fi.
They're like, no, we're out.
It's like the standard joke where the kids bring home the homework and the parents are like, I don't remember this from school.
Exactly.
Go do your homework.
Right? Exactly.
So how do we shift it in a way where folks can go, politics is involved. Data science is now in politics, right? Even though it failed us in one particular...
It's in sports as well.
It's in sports. It's in gambling.
Yes.
It's in social media. It's on our devices, right? It is creating, predicting situations.
There's dating apps.
Well, people, I'm not sure if you... I'm sure you're aware. Maybe you're also that companies know when women are pregnant just by their shopping habits before women are pregnant.
Oh goodness gracious!
Let me tell you. Okay.
I don't know if some people do know that, some people do not know that. But because of what women, there is a credit card. You swipe it around.
Wow.
You swipe it in one or two places. Companies like, that lady's pregnant. And they can also predict the guy. That guy's wife is pregnant.
Oh, should we use cash now?
Well, that was one of the things.
One more thing I want to add to that list is like, I think all the young teenagers will be interested to know that TikTok. TikTok knows so many videos are out there in TikTok. They usually do crazy stuff, right? They add pictures, they blur your picture.
What is this? What?
It's
TikTok.
It's called TikTok. Have you used TikTok?
I've heard people talking about.
Okay,
but so I'm trying to keep up.
It's kind of.
I'm barely on YouTube. I'm barely on YouTube trying to keep up.
That's kind of like more of.
Now we do TikTok.
Then this thing.
Oh my God.
So TikTok, what it does is like TikTok is more of like a company they started with. It's very popular in the Gen Z.
Yes, I do know what it is, man. You don't have to explain that. I'm just
kidding. so what they're doing is like they're actually using the data and they're doing computer vision to come up with weird, weird videos.
The robot,
the robot and something.
Algorithm.
They're all kind of like using data science. So that's one of the things. People will think, how data science are helping us.
Yeah.
Think about
it's
how
not
much
helping. It's not. I don't think it's helping.
Not helping. It's not helping, but it's kind of creating an illusion. And you spend so much time now.
Somebody.
Yeah, just going through the reels.
He's using that information.
That's right. It's not everywhere.
It's very popular in the Hollywood and in the movie industry because everybody wants to be an actor actress by making TikTok videos now.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of, I would say, in the sense, I'm not talking about it's a positive or negative impact. I'm saying again, it's an impact on society.
It's an impact. You're right. You're absolutely right. And the nature of this communication and this entire engagement is to communicate that the impact is there, and you can participate in the impact and understand and just be aware.
Exactly.
So it's the biggest thing. It's like,
you don't have to be like a data scientist to understand the impact because there's so many things are going on around the world people don't even know. So I think the idea of this video is to bridge that gap, to make people aware of that there's some of the real life applications are being driven by data science. There's one more application I could tell, Alexa.
She's listening. She's listening to everything. And I call her a she, but it's
everything is processed to her data, and
it's sneaky. They already got me calling the machine a she. They already got me calling the machine a she. You see how sneaky those people are?
Man.
That's if you're calling Alexa a she, you're already falling for it.
Gotcha. So that basically brings me to a very important matter that, like the sneaking thing, because Google Smarts, Alexa.
Sneaky. This whole thing is about the sneakiness that's happening.
They are actually listening to us. But one thing is happening right now is that's why most of the AI companies, or I guess Fed, literally just running after them. We got to build AI governance.
AI governance,
the
rules.
Governing.
And when I say we, I mean,
Governing
when
what?
you say we, I'm hoping you're meaning
government. Because what happened back in 2008 when financial recession happened, we all know that government has to start all this thing, because I work in financial sector, so I know what my company went through after 2008. Similarly, we need to start that with AI as well. Otherwise, we would see something like catastrophic thing happen in the AI industry.
I see. Okay,
so that's why AI governance is very important, and
governance,
thankfully, most of the big tech companies are kind of like batting an eye on that. They're trying to come up with the AI governance team, at least, so they can actually build, I would say,
how can I get on this
rules
team?
or guidelines or something.
How can I get on this team?
Math?
I got math. I got math. What else do I need?
For that, what you need is to have, like, I would say, a judgment.
I got it. I have a judgment.
Proper judgment.
I have several judgments.
What is right or what is wrong?
Very judgy.
I have all of that. I have right and wrong. I have both.
So that's one of. So I can give you one example on that.
Okay.
There's a thing going on. It's like customer bias. Okay, so when you call a customer help desk, okay, so there are people from all over the world with different accent, different way they're talking. Okay, there sometimes it's happened that some AI bots are kind of aligned to responding to people with certain community.
Really? With accents? They're making bots with accents? I love it.
It actually happens. It happens, and it's actually so that's why they're actually building some sort of like a AI governance where they would actually eradicate the bias from the
because they're going to start discriminating in a way, right?
So
if
so
you sound a certain
when
way,
you do a demographic analysis, right? Because that's all something.
Well, what the term is, what an accent would
test
sound like, I guess, to some degree. And then on top of that, we're still. I mean, that is part of. There's a test, the litmus test. What's the test?
Litmus test.
Yes, the one where you can distinguish whether it's AI or not AI.
I know you're talking about.
Yes. This adds to that feature of being able to that sounds like it's an accent. A robot ain't gonna have an accent.
Well, that's the thing, so I don't know exactly how they're discriminating that, but there is something going on, and it's kind of a sensitive matter to most of the big tech companies.
Sure.
You don't know how Amazon Alexa is kind of processing your voice command, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that particular technique is called the Internet of Things. Sorry. Because that's how they process voice command and transform the voice command into transcripts. And the transcript usually commands your TV to get turned on or light, whatever, that's how it works. So now you don't know how Alexa is actually, listening to your voice.
Learning, right?
Learning, and you don't know how they're actually storing the data in their database. You don't know, because everything is connected. Because the first thing you need to connect to Alexa is internet, and as soon as it's connected,
what bugs me like super a lot, right? Like in my mind, Alexa's like, hey, you're running out of whatever now. And it's like, do you want to order some more? And in my mind, I'm like, you know that I do. Just get it to the door. Why are you making me click? You already know that it's going to get ordered. You already got the pattern.
I want Amazon to break in my house, drop the stuff in front of me.
Well, leave it in the front. By the way, make sure they deliver it right at the front.
No, I want them to put it in my mouth.
Amazon, do your thing. Do your thing.
Just take me away, Amazon.
Dude, I mean,
so long as you do it at a reasonable rate.
It can make your life way more difficult than you thought of sometimes. It's just that's the thing.
I'm just saying.
I told you, like,
but that happened with my uncle.
In the loop,
so my uncle has shout out to my tío Toto. He would never see this because he has no idea how to use anything technology. He says chicken, right?
Chicken.
Okay. Right. So we were messing with him one day. Hey, tell Alexa something about it. I think it was a chicken recipe, and he says chicken. So he had no idea what he was talking about. But then, like a few months later, he said it again, and it worked. It recognized that he said chicken and did chicken. So it was like he was like,
that's memory. That's how they memorize. So when you set up your Alexa, you gotta say something like that's how it literally learns your voice command. It learns everything the way you're.
Keep talking.
Keep
talking to me.
That's fascinating.
So
it is.
And there is the technique behind that. It's called Internet of Things. That's also subset
Internet
of
of Things.
Yeah, that's a subset of artificial intelligence. Like computer vision, Internet of Things, natural language processing.
Sure.
These are all under the same artificial intelligence umbrella.
Wow.
Okay.
Cool. So man, there is infinite.
That's why I told you that I
information.
can talk about this all day.
Yeah, because it's touching every
fascinating.
aspect of it. It's touching every aspect of our reality. It's gonna be, it's gonna shift things in every angle, and we need to be aware.
Definitely. Yeah.
So as we keep moving, and we evolve from the conversation from data science, and we connect it to other things that are happening.
Yeah.
What are
The
some other
artificial
topics?
intelligence space and the real life stuff.
The real life, because it's all, now it's actually all connected, but it's at the tips of the connection, and we are kind of want to be. It is. It's like they've already communicated. They've already communicated. Just let it be the tip, and we'll be okay. Just keep going, and we already said okay. We already said okay, right?
If they're interested, they will. If they're interested, just put comments. You know. Whatever the question you have regarding artificial intelligence, data science, just feel free to shoot your question in the comment section.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this question, Mr. Data Scientist, since it's a hot topic.
Okay, I got a title, Mr. Data. Okay.
Super data scientist.
Thank you for the comment.
How many data scientists predicted that Will Smith was going to slap the crap out of Chris Rock?
How many data scientists does it take to screw
I don't
that
think
light
so.
bulb?
Boom! But now, it's the key factor. This was the unpredictable event. Yes or no?
But that's a perfect example.
Oh, that's what we're getting manipulated.
That's
That's what we're getting manipulated.
Everybody got
That's what we're getting
sense.
manipulated. Now we're getting manipulated.
This was the Mike Tyson thing that he
Yes.
that would like
Yes,
the Germany
correct,
and Brazil
correct,
thing.
correct,
That would
correct.
never happen.
So who would have thought that somebody
Right.
walked onto the Oscar stage and slapped the
and
shit out of
it's
someone?
a human aspect that we could not.
This
It's
we
a
cannot
curveball.
predict, but then now there's questions.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
questions.
Now anything can happen. Or
Anything
what?
could happen. Was that real? Did they plan it specifically to alter the points with regards to, because there's a lot of accusations that the Oscar were losing ratings, that there's now Chris Rock has a show that has a lot
It's
more
booming.
attention,
His
that is
business is
booming,
booming.
all for a little slap. I mean, it's not like he bled. If it would have bled, I would have been like, woof, that hit.
Yeah.
But it was the slap. And they're both actors, by the way. Yeah, I said it.
And it
You're
just,
both
and it
actors.
just so happens that,
Yes.
that Pfizer it was a sponsor of
Oh!
sponsor of the Oscars,
Wow.
and Will Smith has a movie coming out
Oh, no,
soon.
no. Well, Will Smith always has a movie.
Well,
But still.
Yeah, and Chris Rock's career has been
Yeah, all of it. All of
It's-
those. My impression is that all of those actors' careers, because they passed a particular threshold of
Right.
their exposure.
Right.
Also, you need to think about
and
the
they're
Oscar.
looking.
Oscar, a lot of people actually forgot about this Oscar.
So I didn't even know about it.
Yeah,
I forgot.
and why? It's because Oscar ceremony usually happened towards the end of February.
Yeah.
They pushed it to March because of the COVID thing.
Oh.
And as soon as the slap incident happened,
Yes.
that was the top trending on
Nah.
Twitter.
It was. This was purposeful.
Okay.
I'm getting upset because.
But it was a well scripted, or maybe it was not
Ooh,
scripted.
beautiful.
And both of them are like a.
Beautiful. All right, who wants to get slapped? Let's get the ratings up. I'll do both of you for the ratings. I'll do both of you for the ratings.
Subscribe, please, or I will get slapped.
Yeah, I'm the
I'll start slapping
I'll
real
take
quick.
the honor of
But when I saw the slap again, by the way, I looked like he just slapped him with the tip.
He did.
Or he looked like he slapped him with the tip.
Anyways, it's tip of the
Just limited the tip, Chris. That's what it says.
It was a Hollywood slap.
Just a tip.
Just a tip. Just a tip. Yes. Well, it was a Hollywood
Who knows
slap.
that better than a guy from Hollywood?
Yes. Actually, he's the one that brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, no, man. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I went back. I was like, yeah, he's right.
It's a tip.
He didn't bleed.
No
He
idea
didn't
what
look
you're
like.
talking about.
Anywho, so this is a situation that we're got now. Everybody's
Going back to
focusing-
your question, like,
What was the question? I forgot.
How many
How-
data
how
scientists?
many data
predict-
scientists-
Oh yeah, right. But then now the prediction point comes in.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with the Oscars?
Right.
What is the prediction for
Yeah.
next year? How's
Next
the movie
year.
going to do? How's it
Yeah.
going to do? And is it worth repeating in other shows? Are more people going to start slapping each other for that?
Oh man.
Who knows that? Many people will
I
think
know.
about that. Okay.
I told you I was going to start slapping. You know,
So, yeah.
I mean, who knew that? There's a speculation that Andrew Garfield is supposed to be the best actor. He's supposed to get the best actor award. But
Okay.
after the slap
Andrew
incident,
Spider-Man? Is that Garfield?
Yeah, Andrew
yeah,
Garfield.
not
Yes,
for the Spider-Man,
Oh,
for the
okay.
Tick Tick Boom. You know,
But the
that-
Spider-Man was
Yeah, the other
yeah,
one.
yeah. So you were
He's a
supposed
really
to
great
get
actor.
the.
What
yeah,
was this movie about? Hold on one second.
I think it was a
haven't
movie about
seen
a
it.
music director.
Oh, it's a musical director?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did actually watch that movie.
I haven't seen it.
I got you. I got to watch this movie. Okay.
So it's. I think she was based in New York, and then he
They're all on
actually did-
Netflix right now.
Yeah,
all
he-
the Oscar
really?
movies.
Oh,
yeah, he did a really
really?
good thing in
Ooh,
the some of
Netflix
his
was in it too.
music got played in the Broadway opera shows, and then he became famous, and then he suddenly passed away.
He's a great actor.
Yeah. So anyway, so people people are saying that Andrew Garfield deserved the Best Actor award. So it's a conspiracy theory that it started with the slap incident and they handed the award to Will Smith. So who knows?
I know. The premium advantage people know.
That's right.
All I'm saying is we went through here's the deal. We went through the elongated explanation of your profession, of what it takes to understand and to be in this world. As I was sitting here and going, oh my goodness, it takes a lot to be a data scientist. It's been 5 minutes and Sam lives this world. Right? And the purpose of it is to create the understanding, the complex understanding of this situation, which now it's going in a lot of directions, and if we don't catch it, if we don't use it, like we're gonna be behind. We're gonna be behind.
Yeah,
you don't use it, you lose it.
That's right.
The main thing is like here, what here is like data science. It's again a part of science. Okay, science based on hypothesis. Sometimes it gets true, sometimes it doesn't happen because so many factors are there. Because when you're talking about science, you're talking about bringing everything in the nature or something like that.
But those are always ones and zeros. But when you add the human element, it just throws it all off.
Human element, not only human element, a natural state. I mean, we're talking about this Will Smith thing. Okay, so I don't know what was going through his head when he saw Chada Pinkett's face. And like she was literally pleased at Chris.
I think the face was like, "Hey, you're supposed to get up and go slap that fool now."
Yes.
Oh shit! I was laughing at the joke.
No,
I was laughing at the joke. I was supposed to go slap this guy.
So now, how would I?
Do wives have that look prepared and always?
Hey man, you're supposed to go slap him. Oh shit! I think you forgot.
Love can make you
never getting married.
So it's like love can make you do
that's
something
true.
weird.
Well, in my
machine start to love.
Machine starts to love. Something might be possible.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched that movie Ex Machina?
Yeah.
That's
a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good one.
So what if a machine would learn to some extent? It started developing that human element, the emotional content.
I think it's already there.
They
already have some robots I've seen that they make their faces, emulate.
Or it
makes
possible.
faces, but it can't.
No, but it's all you need to keep in mind is 80% is body language, you know.
Yikes.
So it's like
right.
They already got us calling Alexa a she. You see what I mean?
One thing you need to understand that as a human being, we are not perfect. We have so many flaws, but that those flaws are making us what we are.
Right.
So a machine should not be a perfect.
Right.
If it wants to be a human, because we are not perfect.
I mean, but to some point, it's like that perfect.
Except R2D2.
That's a deep understanding
of
because perfection is subjective to some degree.
Relative,
all of it. And so imperfection, you can't really achieve it to some degree. You know what I mean? Because who's perfect for you is not perfect for me.
Yeah. So the history of evolution. If you talk about Charles Darwin, talks about that. So it kind of brings us to that. So every time something evolved from a mistake, maybe. Yeah. Sometimes.
That's how penicillin was made.
To create a resistance, to try to be more effective at.
Yeah, because evolution won't happen if you don't see an unforeseeable scenario. Yeah. It'll always be like a monotonous. Oh, there's the same thing, it's the same pattern. Yeah. So if you want to evolve, that's why human being also get better, right? Yeah. There's a quote, right? If you really want to get better, you have to try something which you've never done before. Yeah, right. Right. Quote, like
correct. So that's why we're all here in this environment because
we never actually did that before. That's why we're doing it. So now this thing will go on.
Right.
So so that's the thing, so being a human, the machine, when the machine will start learning by itself, then that's the kind of warning sign. That's kind of like
that's when
the first start of the beginning of the judgment.
But there's already a date for that. Somebody already said a date for this is like 2034.
What, really?
Yeah, there's a date.
Is it the Nostradamus?
The Aztecs?
There's a gentleman. His name escapes me because you guys are all screaming in my ears. But I know the name. But there's a gentleman that
it's going to be a link down there.
Technology doubles every 2 to 4 years, or the efficiency.
Technology apocalypse or something like that.
Right, correct. Which is what they call
Run for the hills.
I mean, prediction date is 2034. We'll see. It's 2030
within our life expectancy. Again, I'm a person from insurance. I know we are going to survive till 2034. We don't have to. Hopefully.
I like it. Yeah.
So who knows what will happen in 2034.
Well, Back to the Future predicted flying cars in 2015.
2015.
Something like that.
Right. When you can actually literally use banana peels to start your engine.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So. I mean, how far-fetched is that?
I mean, maybe they.
Would you say 2034?
It could.
Man, that's like
Tesla. Come on, Tesla. Come on, Elon, hurry up. All right. Oh man, how are we looking with the time? Is that time accurate?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So, what else is going on that you guys would like to include in the conversation with regards to politics, with regards to sports? We got some things in the notes over there. Is there anything in particular that comes to mind?
I know we have like limited time, kind of.
Sure.
But what I was thinking, the one thing I wanted to add here is from sports analytics standpoint.
Oh yeah, of course.
We are still, focusing on the data science aspect. So in terms of sports analytics, remember that Venn diagram, that business domain knowledge.
Yeah.
It's important over there as well.
Yeah.
So to get into the sports analytics field, I think I can't get into a baseball or American football, even if I've been following baseball for last 10 years.
Yeah.
I know I have that capacity. I know a lot of things about baseball.
Yeah.
But I'm from India.
Yeah.
I've been following soccer for entire my life.
Yeah.
So I can be a good data scientist maybe in cricket or soccer because I know the game. So you got to know the game to become a data scientist in sports analytics field as well. Okay. So baseball, I think baseball would be my best bet because, there are a lot of rules that are kind of similar with cricket.
Go Astros.
Is the reason for that the quantity versus quality scenario that you're mentioning? Meaning you can put the numbers in it, but you don't have the quality to understand what's happening with the game.
That's more difficult in sports. That's why prediction is very difficult in sports in comparison to other industry. Because in sports, anything could be possible. Especially in soccer, anybody could beat anyone on their day. A small team could beat a big team on their day. How would you predict that? Because when you predict something...
Well, I have a challenge now that you're saying this. World Cup, and I've been saying it for a while. World Cup predictions.
Okay.
I think this is something that I would really like to get into is World Cup predictions, where we are now. Maybe get a couple of episodes into the description of the teams, 1 or 2 episodes.
I think we should do a pair podcast on World Cup.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. So that's in
We can
October.
definitely bring more people. Soccer
Yes.
people.
Oh, it's going to be a good, exciting time. Prepping it up.
Let's do that sometime in summer because that's where people will start prepping for this.
Yes.
Because now people are
going.
busy. People are literally busy in following all the national leagues.
Yeah.
Because English Premier League is still going on because I follow my club, Manchester United. I don't know Manchester United fans out there. And then we have Spanish League going on. We have everything going on. I know United States qualified for World Cup.
Did it?
Great. So I think the summer time would be great when all the off season because the season ended like in May.
Yeah.
So we should do something in June and July.
Gotcha.
People will be like have more time to talk about that. Around that time, people will actually start talking about soccer World Cup because now people are still busy in their respective leagues. Talking about English Premier League, Spanish leagues, and other stuff.
Football.
With that, there's also a comedy show coming up in the summers. I know.
Yes, we're gonna have one in July.
Oh,
it's gonna be a big one.
Man, soccer world
July
predictions.
4th, July 4th weekend.
Soccer predictions, comedy shows. Man, it's a lot of things happening.
Football and football will be going on at that time.
On that note, I guess we will close out the episode. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Follow Data Science with Sam.
It'll be in the descriptions down below.